So speaking of which, we're moving into the fall, right? So kids are going to be going back to school. And one thing that you've written a lot about in the past is IEPs and IEPs goals, so individualized education plans. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, this is too big of a conversation to have the entire thing now. IEP goals is a really big topic. But what are a
Really
couple top tips that you might have for professionals that are writing IEP goals?
okay. Well, I actually wrote if you see me, my eyes going to the left, I actually wanted to make sure that I made a couple points. So I have on my screen, I have a couple things I wanted to touch upon.
Good.
Um, that one of the biggest problems that I see with IEP goals is not even specific to AAC. Is that we tend to get these goals that are completely not measurable. You know, it used to be that we could write a goal and just say so and so will improve so and so, so and this skill, which there was really no basis. There's no way of measuring it. So one of the biggest issues is just a general IEP issue, is making sure that whatever goal is written in a way that it can actually be measured, and we can determine whether this child is making progress toward that goal or whether it needs to be a revision and it needs to be modified. So that's one of the things, and I think that's still pretty rampant out there, is people maybe not having the right training or the right skills to write a goal that's measurable. Another thing is that even if it is a measurable goal, it's really essential that that goal be clearly enough written with enough detail that somebody who picks up that goal, either later in the year if the child moves, changes placement, the next year, that they can pick that up and know exactly what they were talking about. So I think it's a really good thing to take your IEP goals, write your draft goals, and hand it to another professional or anybody who might be implementing that goal and say, does this make sense to you? What do you get from that? Because what we think sounds really great in our head and sounds measurable and sounds followable, if that was a word, I'm not sure it is, but I'm going to make it one, I think is not always really the case. So I think we have to be really cautious and make sure that there is enough detail in that goal that it actually can be followed by whoever picks up, that people have a clue of what you intended by that goal. Again, so something not really specific to AAC, more of an issue with just IEP goals in general. A third thing is making sure that we are targeting goals that are actually functional for that student. Not things, yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice for the child to be able to do this particular skill, but is that really, if we're looking at a child, we're looking at a child with complex communication needs that needs to be able to do a whole lot that perhaps is challenging right now. Are we targeting something that is really crucial to their functioning? Is it something kind of on the fringe that we're just picking? So I think we have to be careful that it's really going to make a difference in this child's world and that it is achievable within the time frame of the IEP. You see sometimes these kind of big goals that really it's unlikely for them to be met, and then we have a family who feels frustrated because this goal was written and they keep feeling that there's been no progress made. I think we have to be careful that the goals are achievable. And then the final thing about IEPs and AAC is really more AAC related, so now we're on to AAC, is that, and it's something that I remember hearing from Gail Van Tatenhove years ago in a workshop with her, then what she said was AAC therapy is just language therapy. People see, oh, I got this kid that needs augmentative communication, oh my gosh, how do I write a goal? It's the same as writing a goal for anybody else. What are the language skills that child needs right now to be able to move forward? So is it being able to, provide a verb and an adjective? Basically looking at language development, how it should be occurring naturally, and applying that to this child who's using some form of augmentative communication. Really trying to take some of the complexity out of it and saying, look, this is just language therapy. What skill are we trying to provide? And then, of course, your specially designed instruction is going to be a little different because you're using other tools. So there's going to be things related to whether it's technology or whether it's a paper system. There's going to be additional things in your SDI or perhaps in your description of the goal. But really making sure folks understand this is just language therapy.